of complaint. And then, so it's a comprehensive report, cases of breakdown of cases before the court, 60 cases. To disband the National Task Team has been noted. The initial objective and directive by the President has been achieved with a noticeable decrease of political related killings in KwaZulu-Natal as a result of this National Task Team's intervention and the relentless pursuit of its mandate. The South African Police Service remains responsible for the finalization of those dockets in possession of the task team, as well as the finalization
in my case, I'm running with a document that was sent to me by the Office of the National Commissioner on the one hand. And if the National Commissioner on the other hand started another route between himself and General Khumalo, that road, that document is not what I was aware of. And you can confirm with all the communications, it was never sent to me. So I didn't know. At any given moment, I was never involved. I was not informed. I ran with this, what I was running with as coming from the Office of the National Commissioner. And this is what I have. Nothing more.
Okay, but General Sibiya, we know from earlier questions, you confirmed that you We looked at your mandate. I read very well, it's very clear that in relation to matters that falls in your sphere of responsibility, you actually act for and on behalf of the National Commission, including matters like this. But, and then it goes on to say, except where the National Commissioner withdraws any instruction. So isn't this such a case where on the 15th he had actually told you, General Sibiya, please, maybe appreciate your efforts or whatever in doing this, but just leave it, I'll deal with it. And then on the 22nd, because the directive is from the minister, is to him, not to you or anyone else, he addresses the minister on the 22nd and gives what you now agree is a completely different view on what should happen with the political task.
I don't think, Council, because we did discuss this even earlier this morning, that the National Commissioner never ever said, leave it, I'll do it myself. It has never happened in any situation between me and him since I've been in office. And if that was the case, or that is indeed what happened, the simple basic question to ask is, how did it then leave the National Commissioner's office on the 16th from General Sobola to me again? So there's no way that he said, leave it, I'll do it, and then go to my subordinate and then say he must draft a document that you send straight to the minister. And this must be supported by subsequent meetings. For an example, when you look at the 5th of March, I want us to refer to the 5th of March. If what is standing in that document that it was sent by the National Commissioner to the minister, but it is not what they are saying before Parliament on the 5th of March. There they say, no, the National Commissioner have received a directive from the minister to disband. There's been many meetings held in relation to that, and the political killing task team has achieved the purpose for which they were intended for, and this can be used as a benchmark, and we are quite comfortable that we are ready to then translate into the murder and robbery unit. That they will come up with an action plan, and the docket will be taken to murder and robbery unit. That presentation is different from that letter that the evidence leader is talking about. That document that the evidence leader is talking about is completely different from what the National Commission and General Kumar presented in Parliament. In what they presented in Parliament, they were saying, yes.
Yes, we'll come to that. Let's just deal with one step at a time. Because now you say you weren't aware of the National Commissioner's report to the minister on the 22nd of January.
I haven't seen
He was required to report by the 20th, he reports on the 22nd.
I never saw it. I wasn't aware of it.
When did you become aware of it?
I became aware of it during the suspension, as I was challenging the suspension. Came from somewhere. It was the first time we saw it.
When would that have been?
Somewhere around mid-July.
So it must be your version that you weren't aware of it, because on the 4th of February, you write again to the Divisional Commissioner, Detective and Forensic Services. Again, the heading is deactivation and disbandment of the task team. And this is where you say, you refer to the minister's direct, sorry, Honorable Chair, members. It's on page 70 and 71, General Sibiya, SB 8. And you deal with it on page 16.
Chair, where must I go? Page?
You deal with it from page 16, paragraph 40 of your statement.
Paragraph 60.
16, yeah. Paragraph 40. And the annexure of the 4th of February is at page 70 and 71.
Now, can I proceed?
Yeah, so this is what you refer to the directive to immediately deactivate. The directive requires immediate compliance and appropriate measures to be undertaken to ensure the effective disbandment of the NTTPK in accordance with the current prescripts. In compliance with the above-mentioned directive of the Minister of Police, you are directed to engage with the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence with a view to do a proper handing over and follow all processes necessary to conduct a handover process. At 5.2, you say a case register wherein all the cases were recorded and current status of court-going cases and cases under investigation.
Just to take off where you left from paragraph 40.
Yes.
May I read paragraph 41?
Of course.
The National Commissioner participated in meetings that I have attended and supported the actions that were taken in relation to the disbandment of the PKTT, which processes have been detailed in my deactivation plan dated 17 January 2025, SB7, and which plan the National Commissioner has instructed me to sign. The National Commissioner never requested me to leave matters to him to deal with. I must indicate, honorable members, that I'm not able to access, I was not able to access the minutes of the meetings, subsequent meetings, because of I've been outside now, and the minutes were. But safe to say that in the National Commissioner statement at the Judicial Commission, paragraph 118, the National Commissioner says, in line with my discussion with Lieutenant General Sibiya, I also had a discussion with Lieutenant General Kumalo. I told him to prepare a report as contained in the Minister's Directive on the 31st of December 2024, and that we should aim for 20th January 2025 to submit this report. Since this was a direct instruction from me, it took precedence over Lieutenant General Sibiya's instruction of 17 January. Now, if the National Commissioner says he directed General Kumalo and his instructions took precedence over General Kumalo, over my document, this means that anything and everything going forward takes precedence based on the instruction of the National Commissioner. At Parliament, they present and they say, we are handing over. We're handing over. And they handed and they came up with an action plan. In the action plan, I want to refer to the action plan, let's say page 79. When we get to the action plan, page 79, it is in a meeting on the 6th of March. We were together there, including the National Commissioner. And in this presentation, just to give the background, it says the Minister of Police issued a directive to the National Commissioner regarding the disbandment of the National Political Killing Task Team. Various meetings has been held and a detailed progress report submitted to the Minister of Police. The disestablishment and or disbandment will take a form of transition from NPKTT to Component Serious and Violent Crime, Murder and Robbery Unit within Division Detective and Forensic Service. The transition will ensure continuity of cases, particularly those that are under investigation, and those that are in court. This presentation will on the status of the investigation and of the investigations and the handover plan. Now, here the National Commissioner, in his answering affidavit in the High Court application, confirmed that he approved this implementation plan and that he had been drafted by Khumalo. Further, the National Commissioner mentioned in his statement to the committee that Lieutenant General Khumalo presented to the minister and that he, together with General Musigiri, were in favor of the plan, but General Sibiya and the Chief of Staff of the minister were against. But what I want to say is that the National Commissioner indicates here that he approved this plan. And this plan, when you go to page 79, it says, it outlines the activities, the responsible person, and the due date. The activities, the first one being approval of the disbandment plan, Minister of Police 2025-03-06. Stakeholder engagement with NPA, including prioritization of the 114 cases, is National Commissioner. And the due date is 17th of March 2025. Approval of the new call-up instruction and Financial Authority 2025-2026 is National Commissioner on the 17th of March. And retaining the doggers under investigation to the KZN Eastern Cape is Project Manager, Divisional Commissioner, Detective and Forensics, and which means it is now the 17th of March. Provide progress to the Minister, National Commissioner and Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection. It is now the 31st of March. Submit the final close-up report to the Minister on the 31st of March. Now, honorable members, the National Commissioner said this is the plan that I approved, that he approved. And this is the plan that hands over, retaining the doggers to murder and robbery, serious and violent crime. This is a plan that the National Commissioner approved. This is different from that letter that the evidence leader read, and that says,
yes, General Sibiya, this presentation that was given by Lieutenant General Khumalo in Parliament on the 5th, and which was again repeated in your meeting with the Minister on the 6th, and again on the 27th of March, where General Masemola said Minister and Mr. Kabinde even got angry because they were opposed to it, speaks about a phasing out process, a transition process. If you look at your letter of the 4th of February, in fact, initially on the 17th of January, whether, let's forget about whether it was authorized or not. It talks about an immediate, that's what the minister said in his directive, shut the task team down immediately, disestablish it. What Khumalo talks about on the 4th of March, the 5th of March, again on the 27th of March, talks about a transition of the team. Here you ask on the 4th of February, you say, give me a status report and give me the dockets. Hand over the dockets. That's the difference, General Sibiya.
No.
And the National Commissioner's evidence was that he was in favor of this presentation. He was criticized for not telling the minister that your directive is unlawful, or I don't agree with your directive. But ultimately, this is what he accepted and not what you said, either on the 17th of January or the instructions you gave on the 4th of February.
yes, you see, when we say immediately, when they say disband immediately, it does not necessarily mean that close the shop now, leave everything and go. It's not what it says. We can read, we can go through this document that is drafted. Remember, it makes provision for handing, it says case over protocols, a comprehensive handing over protocol for an ongoing investigation must be established and implemented in consultation with the Divisional Commissioner for Detective Service. This protocol should include complete case files, evidence. Now, I want us to go to the previous paragraph that says accountability. Effective immediately, all investigative personnel of the of the task team responsible for case docket are directly accountable to the Divisional Commissioner and Forensic Service until they are reassigned to alternative units. This personnel will remain responsible for all investigations and resources allocated to them until a formal handing over is completed in accordance with the established protocol. Do you follow, Council? Now, this was not immediate. The same arrangement applies to crime intelligence and other personnel who will be accountable to the relevant divisional and provisional commissioners until the final arrangement are communicated. So which means, if I were to read this whole document into the record, stakeholder communication, all internal and external stakeholders must be notified in writing about the disbandment of the political killing task team, the transition plan for ongoing cases, and the future protocols. So which means, when you read at all these key words, they're not talking like now. They say this must happen, this must unfold, this must unfold. It's a process, but it starts today, or it starts now, immediately. So that is what I was referring to.
Let me read to you what you say in your statement, what you understood the minister to mean. You said this is on page 17 of your statement, paragraph 45. I understood the minister's directive to mean that the disbandment of the PKTT was to be given effect to immediately. As such, I communicated the directive to the team as per the instructions of the office of the NC.
Yes.
And we know from the NC, those were not his instructions.
No,
from the NC himself. You spoke about, okay, to be fair, from the office of the NC. Then you say at paragraph 46 in the last sentence.
Sorry, Chair. I want to say, when the chair say, when the evidence is saying those were not instructions from the NC, no, everything that I reacted to or responded to were from the Office of the National Commissioner.
Okay, then, but we're dealing with what you understood.
Yes.
The minister's directive to mean. You said it means giving effect immediately. And this is what you communicated to the team. Then at paragraph 46, you say in the last sentence, the minister's directive did not say disband within 6 months or within a month. It said immediately, which means now.
Yes.
Now that's not what you're saying today.
No. I understand the technicality around that, but all I'm saying is that as much as we say, I didn't say they must start next month or in 6 months. I wanted them to start now. And when I say I wanted them to start now, I mean they must start the process now. And this is what happened. But above all, what then happened is what the National Commissioner wanted to see happening. The winding down. What does the winding down entail? The winding down or the phase-out approach is as per the approved plan by the National Commissioner. The one that the National Commissioner said, I approve, the one with the action plan that I just read, this one on page 79. This is what the National Commissioner approved, which is the winding down. That winding down is the one that gives effect to the dockets being brought in on this date. Now, they brought the docket on the, it says on the 17th, but the handing over was done on the 28th of March. General Khumalo brought the docket to General Sintumul. On the 28th, they sat with a team to do a handing over. I was not there. And remember, the National Commission says his plan took precedence. We are now dealing with the precedence that the National Commissioner wanted to deliver the dockets to a specific unit by this date. This is what is happening. That was approved by the National Commissioner in his own statement. Now, on the 17th, they were brought, but on the 28th of March, they did a handing over. That handing over now brought the docket to General Sintumula so that they can be distributed to serious and violent crime. It is at the time when they were taken now to General Mkwanazi, who then said, I don't want those dockets in my province. Take them to General Sibiya's office. So in my case, I never even kept any docket gathering dust in my office or locked any docket in my safe. I don't have a safe in my office nor any archive. I don't have. So it was just simply misleading the nation to say, General Sibiya withdrew the docket, they called for the docket, they are not being investigated, they are sitting in the office gathering dust. They never gathered dust in my office. They were taken, as per the plan of the National Commissioner, taken to where they were supposed to be taken up until the provincial commissioner said, I don't want them. Then the next logical thing was NESCOM, they did inform the National Commissioner and said, General, the PC says he doesn't want this docket. That's when he said, oh, well, let General Sibiya make a plan. Then we put a team together to make sure that these dockets are not delayed. But for that, we cannot put a team here from Gauteng to go to KZN in a place they don't know. And then without any budget, they need to be protected. They need accommodation. They need S&T. Now, we needed to have a budget application. That's when we applied for a budget. And we applied. We did mention even in the report that the PC says it doesn't want these dockets, but they must be investigated. And then we wrote. The National Commission never responded. Up until after I left, the National Commissioner wrote a letter that says, what are the dockets doing at head office? Some of these dockets must be taken to the stations where they belong as agreed. As agreed. Which means there was an agreement that they must be taken to those stations.
They must be taken back.
Yes.
That was the agreement. You had taken it away. According to your instructions, you wanted it back. And that was in line with your approach that the team must be disbanded immediately. This transition plan that Khumalo spoke about at several meetings, including before the Police Portfolio Committee, was transitioning the team towards some endpoint. In fact, they say no new cases will be taken. In other words, they will continue with the existing dockets that they have until they complete their task. Your position was to end that task immediately. That's why you asked for the dockets to be taken back. How else would they continue, General Sibiya, with respect, with their task if you've ordered the dockets to be brought to head office in Pretoria?
Council, we are past that stage. We agreed that this docket, the National Commissioner produced an action plan. He said he approved this action plan. The National Commissioner said, I told General Khumalo to write a report. My report took precedence over General Sibiya's report. In other ways, anything and everything that happens after the National Commissioner said, my instruction as the National Commissioner took precedence, which means anything and everything going forward is the National Commissioner's instruction. Now, the National Commissioner, together with General Khumalo, they came up with an action plan. In this action plan, I was not present when they drafted this action plan that says we will have the dockets delivered to murder and robbery units. on this date. It came from the National Commissioner together with General Khumalo. They agreed. And this is what they're implementing. So whatever that is being implemented going forward is the National Commissioner.
Well, General Sibiya, can I just in relation to this issue, can I ask you to go to page 19 of the core bundle, 19 of the core bundle, which is the affidavit of Brigadier Kuneni in the search and seizure warrant application. Paragraph 31.
"19 of the core vital paragraph 31. Yes, I am there, Chair.
You got it?
I've got it, Chair.
Paragraph 31 reads as follows. Or let's first go to paragraph 30. On 27, on the 26th of March, which you've already confirmed, 118 dockets from PKTT KZNYN delivered to the National Headquarters, Pretoria, in line with Sibiya's letter WK5. On 28 March, the Divisional Commissioner Detectives Forensic Services, Lieutenant General Sintumele, received the PKTT dockets. On the paragraph 30, on the 27th of March, Khumalo briefed Mchunu in Pretoria on his final disbandment of the PKTT. Mchunu rejected the plan, which was previously discussed and approved during the Cape Town meeting, which involved a phased-out approach at the meeting, as in paragraph 28 above. He stated, that's Mchunu, that a political decision to establish the task team, therefore it will take a political decision to disband it. And this is what I want to ask you about. On 22 April 2025, Sibiya wrote a further letter to the National Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence and Forensic Services, referring to his previous correspondence. He emphasized that the deactivation and disbandment process should be finalized by Thursday, 24 April 2025. A copy of this letter is enclosed here to mark WK6. Now, unfortunately, we didn't receive any annexes to this affidavit. I don't know whether your lawyers, Mr. Levitt nods no, or shakes his head. And when I asked Minister Mchunu's lawyer also, they hadn't received the annexes. Do you have this letter of the 22nd of April 2025?
I wanted to confirm, to correct something before I proceed, because it's going to also go unchallenged, or I'm going to lose the point that I want to say. Can I respond on this thing on the paragraph 30?
Yeah.
Now, on the 27th of March 2025, Khumalo briefed Mchunu in Pretoria on the final disbandment plan of the PKTT. Mchunu rejected the plan, which was previously discussed and approved during the Cape Town meeting, which involved a phase-out approach, as mentioned in paragraph 28 above. He stated that it took a political decision to establish the PKT, therefore it will take a political decision. What I know is that the minister partially approved the plan. He was happy with the plan, except raising the concern that if you say to me, all the court dockets will remain with the political task team, and that they must remain with the political killing task team, it must continue to operate whilst winding down this docket. Now, the court dockets, since establishment, most of them were just finalized now after 10 years. Now, you are saying, do you want me to accept that you will then take another 5 to 10 years again on these dockets. That was the concern. Then he said, I want you to go and think deep and hard as to, do you really want to keep it like this? Because we are saying, if this thing can be taken to a unit that must investigate them, it can be done. But if you want to say, I must agree that it must take another 5 to 10 years again while this thing is running, that I will not accept. That is the point that I know. We can proceed to the council's question. I just wanted to register that thing. That remember, council, remember that the author of this statement was not part of any meeting. Kunene was never part of any meeting. So his statement that he writes here does not necessarily mean that is the gospel truth.
I think my question remains, General Sibiya. This letter of the 22nd of April, have you got it? 22nd of April 2025, which is referenced in this paragraph 31 of Brigadier Kunene's affidavit.
Yes, I have it, Chair.
So perhaps, maybe you can also respond to this. At page 423 of the National Commissioner's affidavit, there is a letter dated 23rd of April. From it's from Lieutenant General Kumalo, and it's also signed by Lieutenant General Sentumile, Divisional Commissioner, Detective and Forensic Services. If you, this letter is in your statement at SP 16, which is at page 221. You got it there, General?
221, I've got it, Chair.
Yeah, and yeah, it's from Kumalo and signed by Sentumile, and it's addressed to Divisional Commissioner, Detective Services Head Office. Is that to you?
Addressed from, this is Divisional Commissioner, Detective Service Head Office.
Handing over of dockets under investigation.
From Kumalo to Sintumule.
National Task Team investigating political related cases, KZN. This office hereby hands over the following under investigation dockets that were investigated by the National Task Team for political related cases in KZN. The under investigation dockets are categorized as follows: dockets in the Eastern Cape, in Tata, 2 cases there, in Alice, 1 case. Total dockets under investigation handed over is 3, handed over by Lieutenant General Kumalo.
I think the chair, evidence that you missed from 206.
So the question is whether this is a response to your letter of the 22nd of April, 2025, which is not attached to the affidavit of Kunene, and which I asked you whether you have a copy of your letter of the 22nd of April. What does that say?
No, this one of SB 16 and page 22, here we're talking about the Eastern Cape matters, the 3 matters, Namhla Mtwas matter. Now, the initial documents that were brought when they did handing over, it was on page 206. This is the first 118 cases, plus these 3, that makes 121. So we ought to start during the handing over of documents under investigation, National Task Team investigation related cases, KwaZulu-Natal. So now, this office hereby hands over the following under investigation documents that were investigated by the National Task Team for political related cases in KwaZulu-Natal. The under investigation documents are categorized as follows. Political related dockets are 56.
Are you referring now to SB 15 at page 206?
Yes.
These are all the dockets that are mentioned.
Yeah, this is where it all starts. This is where it all starts. These ones, they form part of this, but they came almost a month after, brought by General Kumalo. It was approximately a month, 3 cases that were received, because you can see it's dated the 23rd. And then the handing over of all these dockets were done on the 28th of March. As you can see in 220, page 220, you can see General Kumalo and General Sintumile, which are divisional commissioners, doing handing over to each other, assisted by the staff, as you can see, as mentioned, then there with the signatures. This is the team that even conducted an inspection in all the dockets as they were receiving them. And this is as per the plan of the National Commissioner and General Kumalo. And this is what they said, even in Parliament, that this is what we're going to do. And they are implementing it now. And this, you can see, General Sibiya appears nowhere. There are no dockets in my office gathering dust. I never even saw one docket, just one. I've never even seen it in front of me. They've never been to my floor or to my office. So I've never called for any docket to come to my office.
General, I asked you whether you have the letter of the 22nd of April. It would help if you have it, or if you could bring it along tomorrow.
There is it, sir.
So it's not annexed to the affidavit, and it's not part of our record. So can I have a look at it?
This letter.
That's the letter that Kunene refers to in his affidavit, 22 April.
Well, it should be in a founding affidavit of Kunene.
Yeah, but it's not annexed. So I've just can you let that letter?
Can I be assisted to get to where I need to be? Yeah, this is the letter.
Thank you. Thank you, Andile. Thank you, General. This, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, this is a letter dated 22 April 2025, which is referred to by Brigadier Kunene in his affidavit at paragraph 31. This is, I think this is a letter which you attached to your court papers. Looks like SS19, your
Yes.
court application.
SS19.
This is addressed by General Sibiya to the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence at Khumalo. The subheading Deactivation and Disbandment of the National Task Team on Political Killings. One, my evenly numbered correspondence dated 17 January 2025 and 4 February 25 respectively refer in compliance with the directive of the Minister of Police on 31 December 2024 and subsequent directives on the matter, you are advised that this process should be finalized by Thursday, 24 April 2025. This includes the transfer of all dockets, closed, currently under investigation, and in court, to the Division Detective and Forensic Services. A final feedback report on the finalization of this process, including confirmation that all task team members have reported back to their stations of origin, is awaited on or before Friday, 25 April 2025. Honorable Chair, will copy this and make it available to you and to the honorable members of the committee. So that General Sibiya is pretty emphatic and pretty clear that the task team was going to be disbanded, dockets handed over, the team, those in the team must return to their stations. And of course, as you said earlier, this will go to the murder and robbery team squad, and they'll take over these matters. Now, do you agree with me, at least, that this is different from the implementation plan or the transition plan that Lieutenant General Khumalo presented to the Portfolio Committee on the 5th of March, to the senior management and the minister on the 6th of March, and again on the 27th of March? It's different. There it spoke about the team will continue, they'll be phased out over time, they'll retain what they have, and they'll complete the cases that they have. Here you're saying, no, you're not going anywhere. I want you to return everything by the 24th of April or by the end of April.
Yes, I understand from that angle, Chair. To start with, as we were, remember I was running on this node that we have all agreed that it is happening. Now the docket have been handed over on the 28th. They are somewhere at head office, and I must say now, these dockets must be where they must be, so that they are not gathering dust somewhere in the head office. They must be somewhere. They must have been processed already. That is where we were. Chair, I take your point, and I agree that it will be different if ever the action plan says, because when you go to the action plan, you can see, I just want to refer to the action plan they were saying, because the action plan is talking up until the 31st of March, I think. I just want to check the action plan. Let's go to the action plan as we read from it. 79. Now, the action plan says to me, submit the final close-up report to the minister 250331. This action plan comes from there, is approved. Is the approved plan that says it will come from, I mean, by the 31st of March, it says, submit the final close-up report to the minister, who project manager, divisional commissioner, detective service, and forensic.
This presentation.
Now, if this is the case, and this letter is written dated 22nd March, 22nd March. It's dated 22nd of March. As far as I'm concerned, I am well within the right to say, now that you committed to the 31st of March, if one say by Thursday, the 24th of April, let it be that this thing is being concluded. Whilst we understand at the same time that it might necessarily not mean that come the 27th or the 24th of April is completely done. But because of even on their own date, it was this, they gave themselves a date of the 31st of March. In my case, I say, okay, let's do it on the 24th of April, that now is settled. Here we're talking about the final report, close-up report. So that is why I say I feel that we're still within the plan. And the whole intention was really guided or pushed by the fact that we wanted to be effective, we wanted to make sure that we comply, and we wanted to make sure that we implement so that this thing doesn't take the next 5 years.
General Sibiya, there was a meeting still on the 27th of March where the rollout of this plan indicated that the task team would stay in place until they complete the work that they have, all the dockets that they have, 118, 121 dockets, and only then will it be phased out. That was the National Commissioner's plan all the time, as his instructions to you and to Khumalo. You again overrode those instructions on the 24th of April when you wrote the letter. And you said, I want you to close shop on the 24th of March, or the end of April.
Can I be shown, Chair, that instruction that says on the 27th of March, there was a meeting?
That was we'll find the reference. That was the meeting where, I'll read it back to you in the affidavit of General Masemola, where he says that both the minister and his chief of staff differed, and they even got angry because they also expected the task team to be disbanded then and there immediately.
Personally, I feel that, Chair, if I say something and I produce a document that I wrote and say, this is what I said, and here's a document. But I hear a lot where they say the National Commissioner said this, but there's nothing in writing in that regard. And of which I'm expected to accept that it is true. I don't have the correspondence that says there was this and I said this. I'm saying everything that I wrote is in writing. So can I be favored with this statement where the National Commissioner?
We'll get that part of the statement, but the plan that I'm referring to, and which the National Commissioner has referred to, is the one that was presented to the Portfolio Committee on the 5th of March That one you've seen. You're familiar with that one?
No.
Where Kumalo addressed the portfolio committee.
I know about that one, but the plan that the council is talking about is the one of the 6th of March.
And the one of the 6th of March, the presentation, you were present in that meeting.
I was.
You were present in that meeting.
I was, Council.
And it doesn't close, they talk about closing down the task team or giving a date for which it must be closed down.
It talks about it. They say, Chair, when you give an action plan, this action plan says,
Just give us for ease of reference, just give us the reference, the page or the annexure number.
page 79,
Sorry,
page 79
page 79 of your bundle.
of of the bundle, main bundle.
Yes,
I'm quite sure,
that's the one you rely on.
yes, I'm quite sure, Chair and honorable members, that just like honorable member, chairperson of a portfolio committee on police said, there was never any reluctance. Everybody was in agreement that this is the route to go and that we are taking that route of disbanding. There was never any objection. And then leading to the next meeting, the next day, that produced the action plan. The action plan produced or crafted by General Kumalo and himself, approved by the National Commissioner, of which the minister supported, although with reservations on when it comes to court cases. But the minister partially approved. He said, I'm happy with the plan, but I'm concerned about 1, 2, 3. But the same plan, which was approved by the National Commissioner, of which the National Commissioner admitted that this is the plan that he was satisfied with. It says approval of disbandment plan by Minister of Police 06/03/2025. Now, if this is an official document that the National Commissioner says he approved, talking about approval of disbandment plan at 06/03/2025, stakeholder engagement with NPA, including prioritization of the 114 cases by the National Commissioner on the 17th of March, approval of the new call-up instructions and financial authority 2025-2026 by the National Commissioner on the 17th of March, retaining this docket under investigation to the KZN Eastern Cape by the project manager, Divisional Commissioner Detective Forensics on the 17th of March. Provide progress to the Minister, National Commissioner and Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection on the 31st of March. Now, submit the final close-up report to the Minister is the 31st of March. In other words, when you submit a final close-up report, you can only submit a close-up report when you finally close the whole thing and say, I've closed and this is the report, is done and dusted. This is the close-up report.
No, General
Senior
Sibiya.
Counsel, I want to declare a break. It's 19:30 now. The general has been here from 17:30. And I think we may need to give him a break. Unless you want to indicate something to me. We must not break here and you say, but in the next 5 minutes we would be done.
Definitely won't be finished in the next 5 minutes. Chair,
Yeah.
is it not possible that we can adjourn and continue in the morning? I'll probably be another hour, hour and a half maximum.
Okay, no, yeah, before I take the break,
Or can we have a shorter break,
yeah, let me hear what the honorable member.
a tea break of 15 minutes?
Eh? Honorable Ngola.
Chair, our experience suggests that on the day when members interact with the witness, it usually takes longer than the day when the evidence is led by the evidence leader. So we would suggest, Chair, that at least let's push to an extent that he finishes leading evidence today. Then tomorrow be reserved for members to interact with the witness. We can take a break, Chair, if he feels a little bit tired. Then we come back and conclude. At least it's 1:30.